Chiefs Kingdom, stop scrolling right now. Arrowhead just got hit with news that's heavier than any headline this offseason. And before we go further, we need a moment of real talk. 38 years old. That's the number that stopped this fanbase cold today. But this video isn't just about loss, it's about legacy, warnings, and a rookie fighting for his football life before camp even opens. 3 stories, 1 kingdom, and a receiver room that's about to define the entire 2026 season. If you bleed red and gold, hit like right now in honor of a man who wore it with pride. And let's get into what's shaking Kansas City from the inside out, one story at a time, exactly in the order it broke. Stay locked, Chiefs Kingdom. This one matters more than usual. 15 years. That would have been the anniversary. Instead, on a quiet Thursday, the Chiefs Kingdom lost one of its own. The name echoing through Arrowhead tonight isn't a rookie or a superstar. It's Jordan Devey, the offensive lineman who anchored this franchise during one of its most important transitions. Gone at just 38. His wife, Lindsay Hodgkiss Devey, shared the news in a post that stopped Chiefs Twitter cold, describing him as our hero on what would have been their 15th wedding anniversary. She recalled his eyes, his freckles, his compassion, all things their children carry with them now. His final words to her? "We'll talk soon." Take a second with that. Now here's why this hits Chiefs Kingdom so hard. Devey wasn't a household name outside Kansas City, but inside this locker room, he was the definition of reliability. Signed after being released by the San Francisco 49ers in May 2016, he spent 3 seasons in Kansas City from 2016 to 2018, bouncing between the active roster and practice squad before earning a permanent role up front. In 2018, when injuries tore through the offensive line, Devey stepped up. He played the first 7 games that season, started 2 of them at both guard and center, and one of those starts came against his former team, the New England Patriots, the same franchise where he'd won a Super Bowl ring years earlier. That game happened while the Chiefs were riding a perfect start to the season. A torn pectoral eventually ended his year on injured reserve. But the toughness he showed became part of the story of that era. His path to the NFL was never easy. Knee problems kept him off the high school football field entirely. So he leaned into baseball and playing tuba before serving a 2-year religious mission in Costa Rica. He walked onto Snow College's team with 0 scholarship, transferred to Memphis, started every single game across 2 seasons, and earned All-Conference USA honors. Undrafted in 2013, he signed with the Baltimore Ravens before landing on the Patriots practice squad. He was part of that Super Bowl XLI's championship roster, appearing in 7 games and starting 4, even though he didn't see the field on Super Bowl Sunday itself. Across stops with the 49ers, Chiefs, Raiders, and Bills, Devey played 44 regular season games, starting 21. After retiring, he stayed close to the game in Eagle, Idaho, coaching youth athletes, volunteering for his son's teams, and mentoring at Eagle High School. Everyone who knew him there says the same thing. Mentor, role model, community man first. Chiefs Kingdom, drop a red heart in the comments for Jordan Devey and his family tonight. That's the only CTA this story needs. His story is a reminder that behind every roster move, every stat line, every Sunday under the lights at Arrowhead, there are real families carrying real legacies long after the pads come off. Kansas City's front office issued a statement calling Devey a consummate professional and a beloved member of the Chiefs family, a small gesture that means everything to the people who watched him grind through practice squad snaps to earn his shot. Because as we shift gears now, the next 2 stories are about the future of this receiver room, and the pressure is about to get real. Here's a question Chiefs Kingdom needs to sit with. What happens when your WR1 has more red flags than route running reps? The front office is asking that exact question right now about Rashee Rice, and training camp just became the most important stretch of his career. Kansas City didn't exactly overhaul the passing attack this offseason. Bringing back Eric Bieniemy as offensive coordinator and adding Kenneth Walker III at running back were real moves, sure, but the receiver room barely touched. That means Rice, penciled in as the top target, has to be the answer, and according to ESPN insider Nate Taylor, the Chiefs are still weighing whether to extend him at all. Let that sink in, Kingdom. This is a contract year decision hanging in the balance during the exact camp where he needs to prove himself. Taylor reported that the Chiefs are hopeful Rice can bounce back, especially after he had a procedure this offseason to clean out loose debris causing inflammation in his right knee. But here's the real number that matters. Entering a contract year, Rice needs to show consistency, running clean routes, catching the ball reliably, and finally locking down the role as Patrick Mahomes' #1 option. Rice flashed real stardom as a rookie. Everybody remembers those plays. But since then, injuries, a suspension, inconsistency that's kept him from building on that early momentum. And now, fresh off a 30-day jail sentence that literally prevented him from rehabbing his own knee, every single rep at camp is being watched. The chemistry with Mahomes is undeniable when it's clicking. Anyone who's seen the tape knows the talent is real. But off-the-field decisions have piled up, and now it's on Rice, and only Rice, to show this front office that the investment is worth the risk. Think about the math here for a second. Kansas City didn't add a proven veteran receiver this offseason, didn't spend an early draft pick at the position, and didn't bring in outside insurance. That means the entire structure of this passing game, the one Patrick Mahomes needs to keep this championship window open, is leaning on a player the front office isn't even sure it wants to pay long-term. That's not just pressure, Chiefs Kingdom. That's a gamble with the whole season riding on the outcome. If Rice shows up disciplined, healthy, and locked in during camp, this offense has a ceiling nobody in the AFC West can match. If he stumbles again, Bieniemy's scheme has a hole at the exact position that made this offense so terrifying in the first place. Chiefs Kingdom, here's the question. Does Rashee Rice earn the bag this summer? Or does Kansas City start looking elsewhere at receiver before the trade deadline even arrives? Smash that like button if you still believe in Rice's talent. And drop a comment. Extension or no extension, Kingdom? What's your call? Remember, this front office has shown before it won't hesitate to move on from talent if the trust isn't there. And camp performance could decide everything in the next few weeks. Andy Reid has a history of giving talented but flawed players a real runway. But even his patience has limits when a contract decision is on the table and the calendar keeps ticking toward the regular season. Because while Rice fights for his financial future, there's a rookie in that same receiver room fighting just to make the 53-man roster at all. And his story is even more uncertain. 6'5". That's the first thing anyone notices about him. But size alone won't save Jeff Caldwell's spot on this roster. And right now, Chiefs Kingdom, the undrafted rookie is in real trouble before camp has even started. Caldwell arrived from Cincinnati with turned heads and real physical upside. Rare size, real athleticism, the kind of frame that makes scouts dream. He came in alongside fellow Bearcat Cyrus Allen, a 5th-round pick, and the two rookies' paths have already split hard during spring workouts. Caldwell has the tools. What he doesn't have yet: separation. KSHB 41 producer Nick Jacobs, who covers this team closely, didn't sugarcoat it. Caldwell hasn't really stood out yet, Jacobs said bluntly. He continued, height-wise, Caldwell looks like a tight end out there, the tallest guy on the field. But separating from the pack, that hasn't happened. And here's the part that should really worry Chiefs Kingdom. Caldwell has been working mostly with backup quarterbacks, meaning almost no reps alongside Patrick Mahomes. Jacobs didn't hold back on what that means, essentially pointing out that without reps next to the franchise quarterback, you're not looking at a roster spot. You're looking at practice squad odds at best. Meanwhile, Cyrus Allen is doing the opposite. Jacobs praised Allen's route running as already NFL ready, calling him further along than most rookies Kansas City has developed. He's got short area quickness, lateral burst, the tools to work the slot immediately. The only question left for Allen is physical toughness once the pads come on in St. Joseph. Can he take a hit over the middle and still make the catch? Chiefs Kingdom has seen this movie before. Undrafted guys who catch fire once live tackling starts, and highly drafted rookies who stall out under contact. Andy Reid's staff has a track record of turning late-round afterthoughts into legitimate contributors, and that history is the one thing keeping Caldwell's hopes alive right now. But history doesn't guarantee anything. It just means the door isn't closed yet. Caldwell still has a window. Training camp in St. Joseph is his last real shot to sharpen the root tree and earn trust before final cuts. But right now, the receiver room is loaded with veterans and young talent fighting for the same handful of spots, and Caldwell is not currently winning that fight. Do you think Jeff Caldwell makes this 53-man roster, Chiefs Kingdom? Comment your prediction right now and hit like if you're rooting for the underdog to prove everybody wrong in pads. Camp battles like this one define careers. One great week can flip a depth chart, and one quiet week can end a dream before it ever really started. Kansas City's coaching staff will be watching every single one-on-one rep in St. Joseph. And for an undrafted rookie with no financial cushion and no draft pick safety net, there's simply no room for a slow start. Because everything you just heard, the loss of a Chiefs legend, the pressure on Rice, and a rookie's uphill battle, all collides in one kingdom-defining training camp. And the next 72 hours will tell us who's really built for this run. 3 stories, 1 kingdom, and a season that hasn't even started yet already carrying real weight. Tonight, Chiefs Kingdom mourns a piece of its history. Jordan Devey, gone too soon at 38, remembered as a hero, a mentor, and a foundation piece from an era that built the culture this franchise stands on today. But even in grief, this team keeps moving forward, because that's what champions do. Rashee Rice now carries the weight of an entire passing offense on his shoulders, his contract future tied directly to what happens on the practice fields of St. Joseph. And right behind him, an undrafted giant named Jeff Caldwell is fighting just to keep his NFL dream alive, while Cyrus Allen quietly proves the front office got it right on draft weekend. Here's what this all means for Kansas City heading into 2026. This receiver room is far from settled, the front office is watching every single rep, and training camp just became the most important stretch of the entire offseason. If Rice bounces back and Caldwell finds his footing, this offense stays terrifying for the rest of the AFC West. If either falters, Mahomes is left with even less margin for error in a division that isn't waiting around for Kansas City to figure it out. The Broncos are building, the Chargers are building, and Chiefs Kingdom knows this dynasty doesn't run on reputation alone. It runs on answers, and right now there are more questions than answers in that receiver room. Here's what Chiefs Kingdom needs to do right now. 1. Smash that like button in honor of Jordan Devey and everything he gave this franchise. 2. Drop a comment with your bold prediction. Does Rice earn the extension, and does Caldwell make the roster? 3. Subscribe right now, because every single subscriber makes this kingdom louder, heading into a season the rest of the AFC West is not ready for. But before you go, here's your double cliffhanger. Internally, insiders say the Chiefs front office has already set an internal deadline on the Rice extension decision, and if it passes without a deal, sources say the locker room dynamic could shift fast. Externally, keep an eye on Denver because word is the Broncos are circling veteran receiver help right now, watching Kansas City's decisions closely before making their own move in the AFC West arms race. Chiefs Kingdom, the kingdom stands together. Hit subscribe, stay locked, and let's honor Jordan Devey's legacy the only way we know how. By making this the loudest season Arrowhead has ever seen. We ride together. See you in the next war.